All right, welcome back again to Myos Energy Performance Smile Podcast. And it's truly what my goal is on these podcasts is to help give you the mental, physical, spiritual tools to create happiness in your life. I think that's something so important. And when we can take control of those physical aspects of our life and our brains and our bodies, to optimize that happiness and joy, I think that just makes life so much better. We are here to have joy. We operate the most optimally when we are in a state of joy. And some of that comes from knowing cool information like this little series that we're doing on your favorite time of the month period. And we're here to talk about phase 4. So, we have talked about all different phases up until then, from the first starting your period, which starts the clock, to your menstrual cycle, and all the way through, having some good energy into moving into ovulation, where hormones start to change a little bit, and where we go from having extra help to have a positive mood with estrogen to different phases where different hormones are starting to rise in preparation to, again, build that uterus wall lining. And so just in case you're getting pregnant, so whether you're looking to have a baby or not, this is great information to know what is happening in your body and when, and really can be an effective form of contraception to be able to understand the timing of all of this and to really be aware. And once again, just super empowering to know what is happening inside of our bodies and understand it. And just still can't believe that we have gone so long in society without talking more about this and helping girls manage their physical and mental performance with the physiology that fluctuates so much throughout the month. So, all right, let's dig into phase 4, the mid-luteal phase. So during this phase, let's talk about exercise. Exercise from a strength training side of things, this is when you want to do longer circuit workouts, right? You're increasing those rep ranges while decreasing intensity. So you are doing things maybe at a little bit slower pace, but you're kind of maximizing and increasing the volume of it with decreased intensity. So I think this is a good time to just, don't have to push yourself super hard, but still important to be able to maximize what your body is ready for. And as far as endurance training goes, this is a time for longer steady state endurance work at an easy to moderate pace. So once again, the apps that I keep referring to, Wild AI, they have actual workouts to help you plan a workout or give you an idea of the type of workout that you should be doing. And I know in this phase, it gives good specific information on the type of pacing that you should have for these endurance workouts, and also strength training workouts. So how cool is that? So go ahead and go download Wild AI. It's awesome. And I'll link it too. But so those are the types of exercise that we need to be looking for. Sleep. Okay. So sleep during this phase, unfortunately, may be hindered due to the increase in core temperature that happens and estrogen's effect on sleep. So once again, we need to be giving ourselves all the tools to be able to sleep well at night, especially when the sleep quality is hindered. I know that I do not sleep well in general when it's warm, but when my body temperature is rising, there are times I have hot flashes during the middle of the night, and totally has changed as I've gotten older, but I just overheat and it wakes me up. And so we need to be able to find things that are going to help us stay asleep, because the more our sleep is disrupted, the less effective it's going to be in our different stages of sleep. So making sure that you're setting your body up for sleeping a little bit cooler, whether that's decreasing the amount of clothing that you have on while you're sleeping, maybe just sleeping with a lighter blanket during that time, or maybe opening a window or somehow decreasing that room temperature to keep it a little bit cooler so that your body can actually sleep a little bit better. So just priming it to be able to sleep better than usual. It's pretty important. So as far as nutrition goes with this phase, leucine rich protein is crucial. So I think if we are consuming a good protein to begin with, we're going to be getting that leucine rich protein, but again, it should be ingested within 30 minutes post training. And just consuming leucine rich protein in general during this phase is really good. And the apps, I think, go into where you can find this leucine rich protein. But for the most part, if you have a good solid protein supplement that has all forms of amino acids that you need, and those essential amino acids, I think leucine is going to be in there. So I have some great protein that I love to use. And I think just remembering to hit that window is most important. So just paying attention to that, especially during this time. This is going to probably hinder you a little bit more if you don't consume this leucine rich protein. Carbs. So during this phase, we want to still increase simple carbs pre-training, especially when training for long periods of time. So same as the last phase. And we want to make sure that we are fueling our bodies to have the energy that we need to perform well. I think this is something that there's so much misinformation around fasting and not eating that I think it just scares us into not eating at all. And women do not do well in a fasted state. And so we need carbs and fuel to especially give us the best situation to perform optimally, right? So we need that energy. We need those sources of energy to help us perform at our best, especially when these hormones start to change during these phases that make it a little bit more difficult for us to have an extra boost of energy. So we need to be doing all that we can to do that. So top nutrients, again, eating anti-inflammatory, making sure you're getting that iron paired with vitamin C for maximum absorption, things with vitamin B6, and omegas, consuming omegas. So I know it's been similar things that I've talked about in the other podcasts, but the apps will list specific things for you, the Wild AI app and the FITR Woman app. So go ahead and look at that. Symptoms during this phase. These are when we start to have these uncomfortable things that really can hinder our mental and physical performance. So symptoms of fatigue. We're going to start to maybe have some bloating, water retention, acne, and tender breasts. These are things that are caused with these hormone fluctuations and the things that we don't look forward to. Let's be honest, ladies. This is stuff that we just we hate, but it's okay. You know, we're going to be able to optimally help our bodies through this through the good nutrition and sleep and different things that we're going to have. So during this phase, we do have higher levels of these sex hormones and that start causing these different symptoms. And so supplements that can help to calm symptoms is 3 to 5 grams of branched chain amino acids and vitamin D and vitamin B6 to reduce the onset of PMS, which is premenstrual symptoms. And then also 5 grams of glutamine for the immune system. So at this time, our immune system is still going to be affected in a negative way or just not as on top of its game as it should be. So as far as recovery goes from workouts, the leucine rich protein huge. Cold water immersion actually helps to reduce the delayed onset muscle soreness or DOMS, right? So during this phase, cold water immersion especially can be helpful. I think I'm going to do a whole nother series on cold water and ice baths because there is a difference between men and women and how we should use cold water exposure and immersion. So we'll get into that another time. So again, because our sleep is going to be hindered potentially by this increase in core temperature, estrogen is going to have that negative effect on sleep. So, what happens during this phase physiologically is that the follicle secretes hormones, including estrogen and progesterone, while the uterine wall prepares for the implantation of the egg, right? So we just got done with the ovulation phase where our body is going to be releasing an egg. So now your body is like, hey, are we pregnant? Are we not? Or preparing for pregnancy, right? So that egg can have a spot to implant during the uterus. So your body and your energy, and we're going to talk about this more into the next phase, is so much of your body's energy is going to be going into building this uterine wall. And so nutritionally, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next phase on why it's so important to potentially increase carbs and different things during this phase. So that is what's happening inside our body. And then unfortunately, poor mood and mental fatigue can occur due to high levels of sex hormones. It is really tough because this is something that can be out of our control. So during this time, I think it is good to have a reminder, whether it's on your phone. If you're tracking this, you're going to be getting notifications that, hey, just a heads up, you might be feeling a little bit more like you're going to have a little bit more trouble with mental health. Just like blanking on what to say. You're going to have some mood fluctuations, and that can be tough. That can be really tough. So making sure that you are planning things around that, right? Don't be breaking up with someone when your hormones are running rampant, or I don't know, you can do what you want, but just give yourself the best state of mind to be able to handle tough situations. And then also immunity, like we said, is going to be decreased at this time. So our sleep is already hindered. We have things that are starting to work against us. So it's really important to dial in on the nutrition, the things that we can control, the nutrient timing, the type of exercise that we're doing. If we're exercising too much, our body is not going to be able to recover in general. So we need to make sure that we are getting that leucine-rich protein and the things that are going to help us to sleep better and maximize this phase. So I hope that was helpful. And we're going to talk about one more phase in another episode. And we're going to kind of dive into the real, I guess you could say, negative effects that your premenstrual symptoms can have on you and how to manage that stress just in general, and especially as an athlete. Thanks again for listening. We have one more on this series of your favorite time of the month period. So you're going to be turning this into a superpower and utilizing this information to help you perform better and give yourself a little bit of a mental break during this phase. Please just don't beat yourself up if you're not able to, perform the best, mentally. And it's okay to have a sad day. Take a day to just relax and do some self-care, So that's it for this phase. We're going to talk more about all of that in the next episode. So thanks again for listening. Share this with your friends. Share this with people that you think would benefit from this information. You can have them start the whole series and really bit by bit be able to break down these different phases. And once again, I will link these awesome apps in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.